With how generative AI works, you can get images in the likeness of any existing piece, person, or animal at the click of a button. And in a few seconds, it'll be able to generate whatever you want to your heart's content. It's fast, it's easy, and most importantly, it's completely effortless. But if art becomes completely effortless, does it cease to be art at all? I think a big reason for why the trailer for Wildwood did so well is because it felt like a breath of fresh air. Developed by Laika Studios, this movie is a complete slap in the face to our society's modern obsession with automation and speed. You can see in the trailer how colorful everything is. All the details in the background and foreground, and in the character design like in the cloth or on their faces. You can see the subtle imperfections that make it feel alive. And it proves a massive point that I see people starting to forget. The value of art isn't found in how fast or perfectly something can be made, but comes from the human labor and passion poured into every single frame.
If you must blink, do it now.
Stop motion is often considered one of the hardest forms of animation. Standard films run at 24 frames per second, meaning for each second of a movie, an animator has to physically manipulate almost everything on screen 24 times. That can include the main character, side characters, items like their hair, clothes, and the expression on their faces. What makes this harder than digitally animating or hand-drawn is how exact you have to be with the set and puppets. Making sure nothing else on the set changes and making sure the lighting doesn't shift even a tiny bit. Even for a veteran animator, a full week of work might yield 2 to 4 seconds of usable footage.
We dance.
We'll what?
Like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1,
But you might ask, why does the process of anything matter when it comes to the value of something? And that's because when it comes to art, context and knowledge matter just as much as the final product.
That the animator was able to tease the sweater up and tease it down frame by frame to give the illusion that she was breathing.
One lens for understanding art is the labor theory of value, popularized by Karl Marx. It says that the value of an object is determined by how much human labor went into creating it. This gives some explanation as to why AI artworks feel empty or hollow, regardless of how they look. They cost nothing from the user to make. There's no sacrifice beyond typing a prompt and sending it into the AI. Technology is meant to be progressive. That's how it improves. We're so used to things being automated compared to 10 years ago. At a click of a button, you can get an Uber, get food delivered, send an email. But art doesn't work like that. Movies like Caroline, Box Trolls, and Kubo feel sacred almost, because every single frame on screen is telling us how much time was taken away from the artists. The characters, setting, and story feel alive because a human being gave it that effort. For example, we can look at the artist Yves Klein and this blue painting. Just looking at the painting might not evoke much to the average person. It is just a solid shade of blue. Anyone can paint a canvas a solid color and call it art. But the value of this artwork, what makes it so fascinating, is that Klein spent years working with chemists to invent and patent this exact shade of blue. A shade that hasn't existed in nature before, trying to capture the feeling of pure, infinite space. For Klein, blue had no dimensions. It was beyond dimensions. We can use the same reasoning as to why Picasso's paintings are so famous, especially his self-portraits. Physically, they look nothing like him. They're distorted, abstract, and look a mess. But what makes it beautiful is that it's a direct window into his mind. It's a representation of how he felt and how he saw himself as his life was coming to an end. Art doesn't get better over time like how technology does. It's a capture of a person's mind at a certain place in history, and we can't upgrade our consciousness.
All right, Bobby. Game day is tomorrow. You're in the single vase category, so you got to pick one player to send in.
This one's pretty.
Not according to the book. If you go by the checklist, this one's perfect.
But I like how mine's a little off-center. It's got wabi-sabi.
You can't win an argument by making up words.
Wabi-sabi is an Eastern tradition, Dad. It's celebrating the beauty in what's flawed. Like the crack in the Liberty Bell or the mole on Cindy Crawford's face.
If you're chronically online like I am, I bet you've seen that clip or audio trending. But what does wabi-sabi mean? It comes from Buddhist teachings that are meant to describe impermanence, suffering, and emptiness. It explains that anything perfect or immortal is a lie, and that true peace comes from accepting change, decay, and the idea that things are flawed. The fact that you can see compromise in the trailer, like a slight mismatch in lighting or a transition that looks a little wobbly, shows that these decisions in the art are fingerprints. In a world drowning in artificial perfection, our creativity is defined by our flaws. Laika is basically a massive passion project. The studio is run by Travis Knight, who is the son of the billionaire founder of Nike. Travis takes being a Nepo to the next level. With his father's billions, he spends his time in the studio moving puppets for a living. Not because it's easy to produce or for profits, but because he simply loves art. That backing is the only reason a movie like Wildwood can even exist. This film has been in development since 2011, and they started production 6 years ago. The trailer for Wildwood gained over 100 million views across all platforms. The need for human-made entertainment is as high as it's ever been, and Wildwood looks to be the next reminder of what makes us human in the first place. Generative AI can mimic the look of real art that is trained on pirated material, but it can never mimic the actual drive to create. It can't feel the passion that keeps a team of people working in a darkroom for years. As technology continues to automate our world and make everything effortless, movies like Wildwood are a reminder of what makes us human in the first place. We don't create art just for the end result, but the journey is also just as important. The struggle of making something with our own hands is where the soul lives. And no matter how fast a computer can generate an image and how well it might turn out, it will never be able to copy that.